Dear participant, welcome to NRC Dr. Hari Singh Gaur Vishwavidyalaya, Sagar, Madhya Pradesh. I am Dr. Gautam Prasad, Assistant Professor, Department of Commerce, Dr. Hari Singh Gaur Vishwavidyalaya, Sagar, Madhya Pradesh. Today I am going to discuss the issue related to land reform, still a big issue from Unit 2nd according to the syllabus. The objective of the lecture is that participants should be able to understand the concept of land reform, history of land reform and major advantage of land reform and need of new land reform economic development in India. The chapter are as follows. First is introduction, second is history of land reform, third is objective of land reform in India, fourth is advantage of land reform, fifth is need of land reform and last one is conclusion. Let start with introduction. India is a country of agriculture land. Around 70% of population lived in rural area. They have only one major occupation are agriculture, so that agriculture are their major source of income. In India before independence, most of land captured by mediators like Jamindari, Mahallawaris and Royatwaris system. Land reform policy, India has two specific objectives. First is to remove such weakness to increase in agriculture production as arise from agrarian structure inherited from the past. The second objective, which is closely related to the first, is to eliminate all exploitation and social injustice within the agrarian system, to provide security for tiller of soil and assure equality of status of opportunity to all. Section of rural population, land distribution has been part of India's state policy from very beginning. Independent India's most revolutionary land policy was perhaps the abolition of Jamindari system, that is feudal land holding practice. Land reform usually refers to redistribution of land from rich to poor. Land reform is often connected with redistribution of agricultural land and hence it is related to agrarian reform too, like regulation of ownership, operation, leasing, sales, inheritance of land. In an agrarian economy like India, with massive inequalities of wealth and income, great scarcity of unequal distribution of land, together with a large mass of people living below the poverty line, there are strong economic compelling reasons land reform had received top priority by the government at the time of independence. The Constitution of India left the adoption and implementation of land reform to the state governments. This has led to a lot of variations in the implementation of land reform across the state. History of land reform in India. Land program in post-independence India has evolved through different phases. During the Mughal period, before the arrival of British, there were numerous changes in the system of land taxation or revenue. Peasants continued to enjoy normal right over the land they occupied and generally could not be activated unless they failed to pay the required land revenue to the state. The task of collecting land revenue was assigned to a class of agent called Jamindars. When the East India Company established in 17th century, the agriculture structure underwent fundamental change. The EIC purchased the right of receive the collect land revenue and later, under the permanent settlement introduced in 1793, declares the Jamindars to be proprietors of land in exchange of payment of land, fixed revenue. Jamindars or those whom they sold their property rights typically delegated revenue collection to a series of middlemen. The increase of layer system mediators meant that there was considerable increase in rent extracted from the tiller and failure of pay this increase amount of resulted in large scale eviction, widespread disturbance and declining agriculture production. The British sought to stabilize the situation through legalized. The increasing layers of mediators meant that there was considerable increase in rent extracted from the tiller and failure to pay this increased amount resulted in large scale eviction, widespread disturbance and declining agriculture production. The British sought to stabilize the situation through legislated tenancy reform. The Bengal Rent Act of 1859 placed restriction on the power of landlords to increase rent or evicted tenants. However, the act only protected fixed rent tenant and did not protect bargadas or agriculture laborers, but only one protected those who fixed rent tenants who could prove they had cultivated the land for 12 consecutive years. Constant cultivation was difficult to prove due to poor record, and the act resulted in increasing in eviction of jamidars to prevent tenants from processing land for the required time period. The Bengal Rent Act of 1859 placed restriction on the powers of landlords to increase rent or evicted tenants. However, the act only protected fixed rent tenants and did not protect bargadars or agriculture laborers, but it only protected those fixed rent tenants who could prove they had cultivated the land for 12 consecutive years. Constant cultivation was difficult to prove due to poor records, and the act resulted in an increase in eviction by jamidars to prevent tenants from processing the land for the required time period. The Bengal 1885 Tenancy Act also sought to protect long-standing tenants and was similarly ineffective. During this period, another form of landholder emerged in Bengal. The jotedars were a rich class of peasants who reclaimed and gained control of large quantity of uncultivated forest and wetland outside the territory governed by the permanent settlement. The jotedars refined some of his land through the direct supervision of hired labor or servant. Nevertheless, the bulk of jotedars' land, like much of land in Bengal, was cultivated by bargadars. Rural tension over the dilemma of bargadars were common in the decades prior to the after independence. Tebaga movement called for a smaller crop share payment and also created the slogan, "He who tills the land owns the lands." The movement is given credit for shaping post-independence land reform legislation in West Bengal at the time of independence. This matter was great significance. In the decades following independence, India passed a significant body of land reform legislation. The 1949 Constitution left the adoption and implementation of land and tenancy reforms to state government. This led to a lot of dissimilarity in the implementation of these reforms across states and over time. After India independence, the government took major steps to eliminate the system of jamidars and jagidars. To remove this mediator between state and peasant, this was the first legislature taken by all the most state called as Abolish of Jamidars Jagidars System Act. After independence, attempts had been made to alter the pattern of distribution of land, holding on the basis of 4 types of experiment, namely, first, legislation on the line broadly indicated by central government enacted by the state legislature and finding implication by the agencies of state government. Land reform from correction in the case of Telangana and Naxalite movement, also some extent in case of land grab movement. Next is land reform through legislation order, the case of control lands seizure in Bengal and protection for poor peasant in Kerala. Land reform through social movement, permission of landlord and peaceful procession by peasant in case of Bhudan and Gramdan. Dear participant, let us start the objective of land reform in India. First objective are to enhance the production of land by improving the economic condition of farmer and tenants, so that they have interest in improving agriculture. Second objective was to ensure distribution justice and create democratic society by eliminating all the form of exploitation. Third objective was create a system of peasant proprietorship with the motto of land to the tiller. The fourth objective was transfer the income of the few many so many that demands for consumer goods would be created. Advantage of land reform in India. Following are the advantages of land reform in India. Abolish of Jamidars and Jagidars. The powerful Jamidars and Jagidars have become inexistent. The abolition of intermediaries has stopped exploitation. Transfer of land to peasant from the intermediaries has reduced disparities. The new proprietorship has been given scope for innovation in land reform. The ex-Jagidars and Jamidars have engaged themselves actively in other work, thus contributing the national growth. The abolishment of these systems has increased the new landowner, thus adding revenue to the state government. Land ceiling. Land is a source of income in rural India land and it provides employment opportunity. Therefore, it is important for the marginal farmers, agriculture laborers and small farmers. The concept of ceiling of land holding denotes to the all legal stipulated maximum size beyond which no individual farmer. The objective of such ceiling is to promote economic growth with the social justice. Land ceiling should be imposed on all kinds of land such irrigated and cultivatable land. All the mentioned are inclusive of Ceiling Act. The Ceiling Act varies from state to state on ceiling on 2 crops a year land. However, in most of places the ceiling is 18 acres. Land possessions and social power. It is observed that the land is not only source of production but also generating power in the community. In the Indian system, land is often transferred from the one generation to another generation. However, all the lack of documentation of possession of land. In this framework, the government had made it mandatory to register all tenancy arrangement. Economic argument in favor of land reform. First is equity and equality in a land scarce country with the significant section of rural population below the poverty line. The case for ensuring that everyone has access to some minimum amount of land seems too compelling. Second is small farmers tend to be more productive than large farmer. Third is honest cultivated plot and land tend to be more productive than the other under sharecropping tenancy. For these observations, one could make the argument in the favor of land reform based not only for equity consideration but also efficiency consideration. For example, the inverse relationship between farm size and productivity suggests that land reform could raise productivity by breaking large farm into several small farms. Also, lower productivity under sharecropping suggests that land reform could raise productivity by converting sharecroppers into owner cultivators. Land reform legislations passed by all the state government mainly cover to the all common themes to the following. Abolishment of intermediaries. It was widely recognized that the main cause of stagnation is that agriculture economic was to large extent due to exploitation agrarian relation. The chief instrument of exploitation were the mediators like Jamidars promoted by British government. The government estimates state that in total during first 4-5-year plan, 173 million acres of land was acquired from the intermediaries who the 2 crore tenants were given land to the cultivated. Abolishment of intermediaries is generally agreed to be one component of land reforms that have been relatively successful. The record in terms of other component of mixed and varies across state and over the time. Landowners naturally restricted the implementation of these reforms by directly using their political cuff and also by using various methods, which included registering their own land under name of different relatives by passing the ceiling. The suffering tenants around the different plot of land so that they would not be acquire a incumbency right as stipulated in the tenancy law. The success of land reform has been driven by the political will of a specific state administration. Now, tenancy reform. Tenancy reform included the following set of measures: regulation of rent, security of tenure, owner's right of tenants. Tenants in India are classified into classified tenants. They enjoy permanent right over the land and cannot be evacuated easily. Tenants at will. They do not enjoy any right over the land and can be evacuated by the landlord anytime. Therefore, to protect the tenants at will and subtenants, the tenancy reforms are passed by the various state governments. Regulations of rent. Under the British government, the rent charge was highly unfair with no sound economic behind it. These highly unfair rent spelled high misery on the tenants and trapped them into various circles of the debt and poverty. To provide relief to the tenants from unfair rents, the Indian government after independence passed legislation to regulate the rent and to reduce the miseries of tenants. Security of tenure. To protect the tenants from arbitrary evictions of and to grant them permanent right over land. Legislation has been passed in most states. Legislation passed by the state has three essential aims. First is evictions must not take place except the ordinance. With the provisions of law, land may be resumed by the owner, if at all, for the personal cultivation. Only in the event of land taken by the owner, the tenant is assured of a prescribed minimum area. However, the words definitions of tenants, personal cultivation and landowner understand the law made it difficult to implement the tenancy reform. The right of resumptions provided in the law combined with the flaws in the definition of personal cultivation rendered all tenancies insecure. Ownership right of tenants. It has been repeatedly emphasized by the government that the ownership right of land should be confirmed to the actual cultivator. Accordingly, most states have passed legislation to transfer ownership right to the tenants. However, the success of the state in conferring the rights to the tenants varied widely. Land consolidation. Land consolidation means merging of multiple consolidated farms and giving it to each farmer. The measure is adopted to solve the problem of land fragmentation, and the land consolidation program require guaranteeing of one consolidated land to the farmer, which is equal to the total land holding in different scatter under the farmer possessions. It is simply means that instead of holding multiple small land in different places, the farmer will be given a single big piece of land. Why the program is failed? The program failed to achieve its desired objective because the farmers are unwilling to exchange their land for new one. The argument is given by the farmers that their existing land is much more fertile and productive than new land and under the provided by Consolidated Act. The farmers also complained about nepotism and corruption in the process of consolidation. The farmers complained that the rich and influential often bribes and manage to get fertile and well situated land, whereas the poor farmer get unfertile land. Land ceiling. Land ceiling on agricultural land means a statutory maximum limit on the quantity of land which an individual may hold. The imposition of the land ceiling has two main aspects: ceiling on the future acquisition, ceiling on existing land holding. By 1961-62, ceiling legislation has been passed in all the states. The levels vary from state to state and are different for food and cash crops. In Uttar Pradesh and West Bengal, For example, the ceiling on existing holding is 40 acres and 25 acres. In Punjab, it's ranged from 27 acres to 100 acres. In Rajasthan, 22 acres to 136 acres. In Madhya Pradesh, 25 acres to 75 acres. In order to bring about uniformity, a new policy was involved in 1971. The main features were lowering the ceiling 28 acres of wetland and 54 acres of unirrigated land. Exchange over the family rather than the individual as a unit for determining land holding, lowered ceiling for a family of 5. Fewer exemptions of ceiling. Retrospective application of the law for declaring Benami transaction null and void. No scope to move the court on the ground of violation of fundamental right. Why was land ceiling needed? To bring equity in land ownership, improving the position of poor and remove poverty. For efficient management of farms, as small farmers tends to be more productive than large farms. The argument against land ceiling. There are two major arguments. First is loss of economic efficiency, second is loss of employment. If we are talking about loss of economic efficiency, the major issue are large farmers have an advantage of economic scale, where the average cost of production ceiling as the production increase. The breakup of large farm into small pieces will adversely affect the economy efficiency of the farmland production will decline. If we are talking about loss of employment, the major issue are due to breakup of large farm, a large number of daily laborers will lose their livelihood. The output and employment may also decline due to diversion of saving and investment by small farmers, as they have the tendency to consume most of their income. Development of cooperative farming. Cooperative farming is advocated to solve the problem of subdivision of land holdings. The idea was to make farming profitable for small and marginal farmers having a small piece of land. Under cooperative farming, set of farmers have very small holding come together and join hand to pool their lands for the purpose of cultivation. Pooling of farms help in increasing production, and the farmers can have more produce to sell in the market after taking out their subsistence need. Cooperative farming also help in automation of agriculture, as the owner of multiple small farms can pool their money to buy mechanical tractors or other equipments which they could not afford otherwise. Argument in favor of cooperative farming. To encourage cooperative farming among farmers. First is cooperative farming is an effective method of small uneconomic holding profitable. Second is cost reduction, as the input like seed, fertilizer, power can be purchased in bulk and huge quantity. Third is automation of agriculture. Fourth is cooperative farming helps in making agriculture more scientific, and advantage of technological innovation can be reaped. Fifth is much better uses of resources. Sixth is it is help to increase labor productivity and wages. Last but not least, to increase in marketable surplus which can be sold in market at higher price. National Land Reform Policy focus on 5 goals. These goals are as follows: distributed land to all rural landless people, poor people, restore land unjustified taken from weak communities such as SC/ST, protect the land of SC/ST, liberalize leasing laws, improving land right of human. Let's start needs of land reform in recent time. Land is not useful of agriculture, but it is also useful for environmental and ecology purpose. Most of green land, forest land converted into industrial area land, commercial land, residential land. Yes, I agree with the concept there are need of industrial development and big business hub, but not the cost of ecology and environmental development. There are some needs for land reform. First is the industrial development should be done there where land are not fertile. I can say that land are not useful for agriculture purpose. If industrial development are too much needed in particular place, then ecology balance system should be maintained. Next is new land reform bills should be passed with the amendment of SC/ST who are living in forest. Government should register or lease these land to them for only agriculture purpose with the condition they do not have to right, sale or purchase to another people. Expansion of city not good for agriculture land. In place of expansion cities, village should be converted into city and connected with the city so that people of village will not migrate into city. It also helps to stop expansion of city. Every industry needs some raw material to develop their product. Government are more focused to establish food processing unit in rural areas, whereas farmers sold their raw material like Krishi Mandi. Last but not least, land reform will help to reduce Benami Sampatti, which is helpful for socio-economic and rural development and rural poverty. In summary, land reform is the major step of government to assist people living under adverse condition. It is basically redistribution of land from those who have excess of land to those who do not have, with the objective of increasing the income and bargaining power of the rural poor. The purpose of land reform is to help weaker section of society and do justice in land distribution. Government land policies are implemented to make more rational use of scarce land resources by affecting condition of holdings, imposing ceilings and ground on holding so that cultivation can be done in most economical manner. Thank you very much.